My name's Colin Kane.
And you have quite a lot of experience in unlicensed boxing.
Yeah, I've had quite a few bouts at Caesars and one or two up at Watford as well.
And how are they different, say, from a professional kind of fight? What's the difference?
Well, the professional, for a start, it's nowhere near as tough, or you don't have to be as dedicated. Professional boxing is exactly what it says it is. It's professional. You absolutely have to be 100% committed to that. And to get anywhere in professional boxing, that has to be your life. You know, you have no life outside of boxing. You train, hard as anything, and that's what makes it what it is. The unlicensed boxing is like I say, it's sort of somewhere between amateur and professional. You can fight, and you haven't got to commit your whole life to it. So you can train in the gym, but you can still go out your Friday, Saturday nights, and then you can go and box. And it's a lot more laid back. It's more casual, more enjoyable, I think, for me anyway.
Some of the fights you've had, that I've found, have been quite rough, haven't they?
Yeah, it's like I say, the rules are not so strictly adhered to in unlicensed boxing. You're allowed to get away with a few more bits and pieces, as you will have seen in some of my fights. But I like that. That suits me better because I'm not a tactical boxer. I've been doing it for years, but I still haven't really mastered the basics. So I'm more of a brawler, and unlicensed suits me.
And so Roy Shaw was sort of king of the unlicensed. So did he sort of inspire you?
Oh, I'd say Roy Shaw's inspired pretty much everyone. He's up there, one of the top names of unlicensed, bare knuckle fighting, that kind of thing. Your Lenny McLean's, your Roy Shaw's, all the gypsy bare knuckle fighters. They've all been inspirational for probably everyone that gets in that ring.
Okay, Kaz, what do you think about Roy Shaw?
Just absolute legend, isn't he? Just what I was calling man's man. Awesome story, just an awesome story as well. Someone that's so respected. If you think of the word respect, in the world of the hard man and all that, what his book was awesome. It was one of the best-selling books ever, and it really catapulted John Blake, who was my publisher as well, when it opened the door for me as well. You know what I mean? But I don't see myself on his level. Being around the East End and different parts of London, everyone knows Roy Shaw. They all talk about Roy Shaw, but he spent a lot of his years inside. So it's quite amazing with someone who spent so long inside to be talked about by everyone on the outside. And it's his story. It's his story of against the odds. The courage. He stood up to everything that could be thrown at him, and still come out as himself, intact. And he faced it all. We read his story, liquid koshes, and he fought against the system, and no one else would. He'd done it the hard way. Anyone you met in prison, particularly long termers, always say keep yourself to yourself and keep your head down. You know what I mean? Well, Roy Shaw didn't do that. He just wouldn't conform anywhere, and he took on the full might of establishment. And today, he's a successful, intelligent man. A property millionaire, I've heard, and I feel actually privileged that I've been in his company occasionally. I never forget the first time I was in his company, and my first sight of Roy Shaw, always stays with you. I've heard so much about him, and there he was actually sitting beside me on a table with quite a few faces at the time, an Italian restaurant on the river, along West London, and my first sight of him, he had a white shirt on, always like the old school type, proper clean white shirt ironed, but the sleeves were rolled up. And he sat beside me, handing a knife and fork. I just couldn't take my eyes off. You don't look at someone like that to be simply looking, gulping at someone. You know what I mean? And I couldn't help it because the size of his arms. I looked down the table at my legs, at my thighs, and his arms were the size of my thighs, and I'm 6'4". You know what I mean? And I was just, Jesus. You know what I mean? And and the thing about that man, there's not an ounce of steroid in him. He's a proper man, and everything he does is real. You know what I mean?
And so over the years, he's definitely deserved his reputation.
Yeah, I'll never forget when, another time before I met Roy, I heard, major club opening in Hollywood's Romford. When Romford first sort of started the club life, and a liberty was taken. We heard from Roy Shaw, and it's just like in the depths of Canning Town, and that's not in Roy's area, but people were alarmed in the East End, and remember being part of the crew that went down, you know, just out of a dishonour, gone to a man that's so respected at the East End, you know what I mean? And people just felt compelled they had to go and sort out that business. And I think Roy was aware, you know what I mean? And but he's a sort of man, he's really his whole story. He's always fought his own battles. But the Roy I've met and seen today, he's always immaculate. He's always like a businessman. You don't see the character that you read about in the book. You find out about the character you read in the book for people that you know the score and have been there. You know what I mean? And the respect from these guys. I mean, if everyone respecting these guys, and they're all, who are they respecting? And the name comes up time and again. It's Roy Shaw, Roy Shaw, Roy Shaw. You know, so the man's awesome. Whether you approve of his lifestyle, whatever, he's earned his respect. There's nothing that can be denied him anywhere.
Tell us, what's your background in unlicensed?
Well, many years I've always been about in the game, but when it originally started, where I originally first saw it was at Mitcham, when they used to have the old booth fight, and I'm sure Roy will remember that, going back many years. And I've got one of the original blokes here, actually. I think, Roy, you'll know this man. It's Knacker Hill, Brian Hill. You and Lenny McLean, he used to look after you at different times. And back in the old days when it was a little bit hard, you know what I mean, Roy? Obviously, it goes back many years to travellers on Epsom Downs. In actual fact, on the top of Epsom Downs, outside there every year, and I think they still put it up, their actual boxing ring is 4 scaffold tubes. And they'll go in the pub, want to have a few beers, who wants to fight? And they'll all go out and have a bet on it. You know what I mean? It's not so much today, but years ago that was the case, and the travelling people would sort out their problems that way. So, if you had a problem, let's go and sort it out. And that's really what you need respect for that. Well, it's gone on from that, obviously. And as I say, when Knacker Hill here was in it, there was booth fights at the fairs. And of course, it's graduated since then. And, well, I mean, obviously, Joe Pole, Frank Warren, they were all in, doing unlicensed fights prior to what it is now. And like Frank Warren now, I mean, he's top notch now, and he's top man now, isn't he? Well, in the boxing game. But the standard, Alan Mortlake and his family have brought the standard up, to a good quality now. When you go to their shows, it's enjoyable. You haven't got all these, shouting and hollering and effing and blind. You've got decent people there watching a decent fight and enjoying it.
And of course, Roy started fighting gypsies on the Common, didn't he? That was
that's what I'm saying. It goes way back. I mean, I don't know. He probably had a fight on Epsom Downs, knowing. But Roy's been in from the get-go. He's been there before anybody else was in it, really. Do you know what I mean? But he would go and fight. He wouldn't care if it was on the moon. He'd go and have a row. If it was in Australia, he wouldn't care. Okay, let's have it. Do you know what I mean? And that you must respect that, whoever you are. And his belt that he's got, I think, is fully justified. Anybody who wins it is entitled to feel like a Lonsdale belt round. To be honest with you. Going back years, he's fought some hard people. I mean, they're not just anybody's and nobody's. Whatever got in the ring, he'd have a fight with. He's like little Jack Russell. He wouldn't let. Once you got older, he wouldn't let you go.
Did you ever get to see him in the ring?
Oh yeah. Going back years with Joey Piles, I go back a lot further than a lot of the others. Do you know what I mean? As I say, I've been about the game a long time. Not had many fighters, but I've always been about the game and know quite a few people in the game. And certainly going back to Lenny McLean and Roy and all those times. Going back over the years when it was all, when everybody got in and had a row, they didn't really care and they'd fight anything. You know what I mean? Especially Roy would. And that's why everybody's got respect for him. And I think it's totally justified. Totally justified.
What kind of a fighter was Roy?
Get in and have it. Let's have you. Come on, I don't care.
But what's the difference now between unlicensed boxing as it is now as it was then?
Well, it seems more regulated. You've got to respect. Listen, any man that gets in the ring, whether he wins or loses, you've got to have respect for. Now, people say they're mad, they're this, that and the other, but there isn't too many people who are going to get in the ring and have it with somebody else that they don't even know they'll have a row with. But in the game now, such as what Alan Mortlake and that are doing, they've really brought the game up, you know what I mean? I mean, the actual boxing board of control are not licensed, they're self-licensed, but it's not legal, if you know what I mean. But what sort of Alan and his family have done is just they sort of, and obviously with the help of Roy, around them, has actually brought the game up, and I think it's now in leaps and bounds, and fair play to them.
And of course, you've been looking after and been in the corner of fighters like Jimmy Can.
Jimmy Can, yeah.
And how's that been for you?
Oh, absolutely brilliant. I mean, he's as game as they come. He's lost a few fights. I mean, he's like Suicide. He's another good fighter. He'll get in there, he'll have it with anybody. He's lost, but he's come back. That's the type of men you're dealing with. But the thing that I admire about it is when they've had their fight, they get up and they cuddle each other. Is that silly or not? I don't know. They want to beat the life out of each other. The next minute, it's lovely. It's absolutely lovely. Complete respect for him.
And when you've been over to like the Circus Tavern and stuff, and you've seen the reception that Roy gets, he's very popular with the crowd, isn't he?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. And it's justified though, isn't it? I mean, everybody's got respect for Roy because he's done it. He's been there. There is nothing you can sell him, and he's fought everything. It doesn't matter to him. I mean, you could throw a bear in there and he'd have a row. You know what I mean? That's the type of fella Roy is. He's never run from nothing, and that you've got to have respect for.